guys, Travis here. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about spirit healing. And so this is a service that I offer, but doesn't seem to get as much attention or as much use because most people know me for my readings, come to me for my readings. But one of my goals for this year is really to engage more my spiritual healing practice. So like many of you, I started my healing journey or my energy work journey or my, whatever terminology you want to use there when it comes to things like energy medicine and hands-on healing and spiritual healing. I started with Reiki, I think back in 2006. I was still in high school at the time. And I went through levels 1, 2, 3 in master, and I taught a little bit and I did a little bit with that. But the thing is, Reiki is so commonplace nowadays, but it's a wonderful thing for people who are interested in sort of learning to develop their ability to heal. Now, what I offer today is something that is a little bit different than something like Reiki, and I guess here's the difference. As I said, like most people, I started with Reiki, but eventually, and I think it's a great starting place for all people because it opens doors to other things. And so what I do in healing sessions has kind of evolved over the years. As I delved more into my mediumship and as I delved more into spiritualism, I really started to work a little bit more in the vein of what the spiritualist church or practitioners like the late Harry Edwards might call spirit healing. And the difference between spirit healing in the context that I choose to work and things like Reiki or pranic touch or therapeutic touch, although I do think that they're wonderful and have many beneficial and practical applications, is that when you're working with one of those energy modalities, you're kind of working a little bit either one with sort of a generic universal energy, a generic universal force, an energy, a life force, a prana, a chi, whatever you want to call it. And it really comes down to the understanding of the practitioner to make it effective for the person receiving the healing. Where what I do as a medium in spirit healing is a little bit different than maybe some of these more generalized healing energies is in the same way that if I'm working to give a spirit contact with the client, that I sort of hold the intention of blending with the spirit communicator to impart a message. When I'm working in the vein of spirit healing, it's my intention to attune to helpers, specialists, doctors, spirit healers, physicians, spirit operators, whatever terminology that you want to call them, healers in the spirit world who are the most suited to impart a certain energy to the recipient or to the client. So I would love to say that I have one particular guide or one particular healer that I attune to in the spirit world. And while we all do have our own guides who are specifically attuned to our body and our chemistry and are concerned with our well-being and health, in old spiritualist traditions, they call that the chemist, or sometimes you will hear the term spirit doctor. That's not always the energy that I connect with. And it's because my intention is to connect with the best intelligence in the spirit world, to impart the most specific energy that the person needs. So it may be a healing guide that I'm familiar with who sort of blends with me after I sort of connect on an aura-to-aura basis with the recipient to sort of impart the healing energies that they need, or it may be someone entirely different. Maybe, the best person or the best healer or the best experience for the job is a spirit that I might not be familiar with. So I try to stay open to whoever the most appropriate spirit healer is to come into my energy field, which is merged with the energy field of my client to impart those spiritual healing vibrations. Now, something that I want to address, what is healing? What is meant by healing? As a practitioner, especially someone in an alternative field, I can't claim to fix, heal, or cure anyone. If those things happen for you, that is phenomenal and I am thrilled. But it really is, for me, I guess I kind of define healing as improvement. And so that might mean that you simply experience relaxation. For other people, it might be more of a healing or as soothing on a mental or emotional level. Some people may physically feel better within the body or experience things such as pain relief, but responsibly, I can't claim to accomplish or do anything. That really comes down between the client, the spirit world, and how willing they are to connect. Because there's all kinds of reasons that people don't heal. Some person might come and say, well, I went for this and I'm not fixed, I'm not cured, I'm not doing any better. And that's because they don't understand, one, why we created the issues in our body or are experiencing the issues in our body that we do in the first place, and two, how the healing process works. It's not instantaneous. Rome wasn't built in a day. We didn't develop belief systems and attitudes and stay in environments that made us sick overnight, so we're not going to undo all of that dis-ease overnight. Sometimes healing is a process. And so I just want to address a few reasons why people sometimes don't heal. So the first thing is sometimes the person might not be ready to heal. And I know that you're probably thinking, well, why would anybody who's sick not want to heal? There's actually all kinds of reasons people might not want to heal. One is that in some way the person might be benefiting from the illness. And I'll give you an example of that. I know someone in the arena that I work in who's always sick, always having one surgery after the next. It's like we get one body part taken care of and the next is taken care of. And on some level, it's because it provides something for them, whether it's a distraction from looking at things they don't want to look at, whether it brings them attention and that makes them feel loved because for some reason they don't feel that in and of themselves. And so an illness or something negative or something that we even hate, we could actually be clinging on to because it does serve us in some form or fashion. The other thing is we don't always understand the cause. Is it a belief system? Is it an emotion? Was it a trauma that was unhealed that eventually manifested into something physical? Was it more environmental? Was it dietary? Was it karmic? Was there a past life influence? Was there some sort of a soul contract for a lesson that we're supposed to be learning from going through this experience? These are things that I don't answer. I don't know. I'm just there to sort of be a conduit and administer and sort of be the middleman for potential healing to occur in these sessions. The other thing too is sometimes what we define as a problem might not actually be a problem. A good example of this is something like autism. You can't heal autism because people who are on the autistic spectrum aren't broken. It's not their job to look more like we think as a society they should be. It's our job to adapt to them and say, they're not wrong, they're not broken, they just communicate differently, and we have to change and evolve to keep up with that, to understand that. It's not any better or worse, it's just different. So there's all sorts of reasons people may not be healing, and sometimes it's because people get impatient. Maybe you come expecting Charlie Goldsmith level results overnight. Well, some people might. Some people might be in the spiritual place where they are physically, mentally, and emotionally ready to heal, and they experience some really wonderful benefits from a session. Some people may need regular sessions on a regular basis because they have to slowly let the walls down. They've lived with the condition for so long that the idea of completely going into a contrasting experience of wellness would almost be like a shock. So they have to slowly peel off the layers. And we have to be aware of all of these things within ourselves when we make the decision to go to any type of healing practitioner, regardless of the modality that they use. And so one thing too that I do want to communicate is that in a session, what is to be expected? I think it's always important for the person to go in with an open mind. It's always important for me to go in with an open mind, and then hopefully an empty mind, as I'm just there to sort of facilitate an energy, a spiritual intelligence that hopefully leads to healing. But it doesn't have to look any certain way. I know people who are more familiar with things like quantum touch and Reiki and healing touch are used to laying on a massage table, The practitioner usually lays their hands on certain parts of the body or hovers their hands above the body. Now, when I work, I do like physical contact with my hands. One of the things that's a little bit different is when you're working in the spirit healing capacity, it's not relying on what you know. It's surrendering to the intelligence of spirit. Therefore, I don't need to worry about, am I placing my hands on this chakra, then this chakra, then this chakra? I just connect, because it's not about the hands. The hands are great at concentrating energy, but it's about the blending. The aura of the sitter, the aura of the healer, the spirit persons or guide or spirit doctor that's healing and blending with the medium coming together. So it's literally creating an atmosphere, and it's holding a space for hopefully changes and improvement to take place. A lot of times, and we see this in spiritualist churches, the practitioner, or not the practitioner, but the receiver of the healing doesn't even need to be laying down. A lot of the old school practitioners and spirit healers used to work in chairs where they would simply stand behind the recipient and place their hands on their head or their shoulders. And if spirit inspired them, if spirit impressed them to move their hands or place them somewhere else, they may have, but it wasn't about having access to all the energy points and things of that nature. And so I would love to do more of this year for you, because it is something that I thoroughly enjoy and I don't get a lot of requests for. So if you are interested in a session, I'm more than happy to set that up for you. And possibly at some point, maybe we'll do some more in-depth videos about the mechanics of spirit healing and the healers in the spirit world who work through you. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed learning about this. And if you're interested in experiencing it for yourself, just get a hold of me. There's a million ways how. I'm sure you already have that information. So thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed that.